Good morning, everybody. I'm supposed to talk for a few minutes about tithing. What is tithing? Why do we tithe? I just want to give you a couple of arguments, if you want, about tithing. First of all, we tithe as a church member because the Bible says so. But there is always, like in the election time, we have a counter argument and we have a rebuttal. And I want to explain why we tithe. Like I said, tithing is required according to scriptures. Abraham tithed not because it was in the law, but he tithed because he wanted to. He was blessed and he tithed. Jacob tithed a little bit in a controversial way because he said, I will tithe, I will give you a tenth if you bless me. That is not exactly the way we do it now. We want to tithe because God says so. In the Old Testament, there are quite a few scriptures that tells us that we have to tithe. In Numbers, in Leviticus, in Deuteronomy, and in the last book of the Old Testament, Malachi even said, you are being cursed because you do not tithe. And even in the New Testament, tithing is being talked about several times. Now you may say, well, I tithe to the federal government because tithing in the Old Testament was actually for the government, for the priest to run the government, etc. That is a different setting because in those days the Israelites were under a theocracy. We have a democracy, and so that argument does not really apply. Besides, if you think that paying tax is tithing, it is not, because our tax is very often being used for unbiblical purposes like abortion. Anyway, so we tithe because God tells us to do so. However, I learned to tithe back in the 70s. It was not always easy. I had difficult problems with my finances, and I learned to tithe, but I did it, I must admit, in the wrong way, because I wanted to tithe to be blessed. And it was a little bit like an investment. I was tithing actually for myself. That is not what tithing is about. Tithing is to give a tenth to the Lord. And I had to learn that the hard way. But nevertheless, even in the hard times, the hard financial times, God did bless me, even though there were times that I was really desperate. There was even a time that I had an argument with God. I said, Lord, you said you would bless me. It is the middle of November, it was in the 70s. I have a dime in my pocket. We are going hungry for the rest of the month. And God argued with me and he said, are you going hungry? No, I'm not going hungry, Lord, but we are going to be hungry because I have only one dime in my pocket. And he said the second time, are you going hungry? No, not yet. This happened 3 times. I came home, and what did I find in the mailbox? $50 in an envelope with a little note from Grace. And I did not know any person by the name of Grace. I really believe it was by God's grace that I was being blessed. We did not go hungry, and we were blessed. And since then, I have become a firm believer in tithing, and I hope you will too. Thank you.